everyone. Today is April Fool's Day, and I got fooled by something from work. Uh, I won't go into it, but I believed it until I realized what day it was. And it would have been a radical change for our business. So I'll just leave that at that. So today I'm going to change things up a little bit. I'm going to talk about something a little newer than going back into my whole backstory. Today, I want to talk about theater. Um, and my first audition that I did after being away from theater for 27 years. I had the opportunity to take an acting class at the Temple Theater when I was in eighth grade. We learned, the basics of acting, how to present yourself to the stage, how to project, how to make facial expressions. We did a lot of crazy things in that class, and our graduation theater production was The Hobbit, and I got to play Gollum.
Bless and splashes, my precious.
But so yeah, it was amazing to be able to be out on a stage with only one other person and sometimes all by myself at that age in a theater of that size. Um, I want to get back to where I can be in a theater that large again. It hasn't happened yet. Midland is one of my destination sites. I want to play the big stage at Midland. I would love to do the Temple again. Um, but uh, even Swan Valley's their new performance center is huge. I would love to do a show there. Bullock Creek's got a nice one as well. But anyway, in high school we did not have a drama class. We had, that's Jinx's tale. We had um, we had one teacher my freshman year that did a show, and then we had um, our two English teachers that decided that my senior year we should do a show. That was the only two shows we did in high school. After high school, I got busy with, going to college, working full time, working retail, uh, and my schedule was all over the place and was just not conducive to being in theater anymore. I mean, there's a lot of concessions a job has got to give up for you to be able to be available at the hours that rehearsals are going on. And I guess in retrospect, I probably should have asked. And that, well, anyway, fast forward 2016, my parents are going through rehab. They're in Alma. And one of the guys I work with at Sam's Club in the meat department comes up to me one day because he knows, number one, I love theater, and number two, I'm a huge Monty Python fan. And one of my favorite musicals is Spamalot. So I he's like, he says, I know you got a lot going on right now, but Bay City Players is going to do Spamalot. Well, I went home. I looked it up on the internet and I saw the production times. Auditions are early June. Rehearsals start in August. Show is in October. And I start thinking, I could probably do that. So I go home, and of course, I was married at the time, so of course I've got to talk to my wife about it, and she's gung ho for it. And then I tell my kids, and Spamalot, like I said, is one of my favorite musicals. I have the soundtrack. I own that. Um, and my kids have heard it, pretty much their entire life. And so they were already picking out rules for me before I even went to audition. I was like, guys, come on. It's been 27 years since I've been in a show. I don't even know if I'm going to get cast, let alone what part I'm going to get. So just hold off on that. I said, even if I don't get cast, we're going to go see it because you guys need to experience this. Because my Kristen and I went down to Novi, um, to the Fisher Theater. I think that's in Novi. I have to look that up in a minute. Uh, and we saw the touring version of it back. I want to say it in like '08, maybe '09. So it was fairly relatively fresh in my mind about it. So so the day comes up and I go to the audition. I'm the fourth person there. Fourth person. The other three are already sitting around. They're filling out their audition forms and they're talking about the shows they've just done. How did you like this role? Um, Things like that. So I start filling out the audition form. And it's like, what shows have you been in? So I'm filling out The Hobbit, The Mouse That Roared, Plaza Suite, the three shows that I've done most recently. And, we're talking, like I said, 27 years. The next question: what type of dance do you know? I don't dance. Or at least I didn't think I danced. Next question: do you own dance shoes? Obviously, previous question kind of answered that one for you. Next question: who is your vocal coach? Now I'm getting question marks in my head. What am I doing here? Why am I here? I have no business being here. I've this is off the charts. But I'm like, it was a 20-25 minute drive here. The least I'm going to do is follow through with this and we'll go from there. I can at least say later on that, hey, I tried it, it didn't work out. Worst case scenario, right? So I fill out, the audition form. I've got this little name tag on my shirt that says I am number four, because that's how they were doing things. Other places do other things, but that's the way they did this particular show. So after everybody gets there, and I don't know why they didn't look at the calendar, but they did the first night of auditions on the Tony Awards, which, if you know theater, anyone who does theater, we watch the Tony Awards. Um, that's just a kind of a thing, a kind of a thing that we do. So um, we didn't have a lot of people that night. I want to say maybe 15 total, maybe 16. And so after everybody got there and the time came up, they brought us into the main auditorium, or the main theater, I should say, and they introduced us to the entire production team. So they're like, here's the producer, here's the director, here's the assistant director, here is the um, music director, here's the two choreographers, here's our costume designer, and my eyes got wide. I Yeah, that was crazy to me, and I'm like, this is not anything I expected. This is nothing I've ever been a part of. That is this professional, and it's a community theater, and I'm like, wow. So they're like, all right, so the two leads are King Arthur and Lady of the Lake. Obviously I'm not going for Lady of the Lake, and I have no confidence whatsoever in myself at that point to even try for King Arthur. I'm like, I'm just hoping to get an ensemble piece, basically. I want to be part of the show, but, you know. So they're like, all right, those that want to try out for those two parts, stay here. The rest of you, you're going to the rehearsal room and learn choreography. We basically had 15 minutes to learn 20 measures of music. And um, while I think I did all right with it, I kept screwing up the last measure. Every time I tried it, it messed up. It just, it, yeah, I couldn't catch it. There are things you sometimes can't do, and that was one of them for me. So we got through that. They bring us back into the theater, and they bring us up on stage, and they're like, "All right, we're going to start with the choreography. Um, we're going to take you in groups of four. So 1 through 4, you're first. Remember what number I am? I'm number 4. So I got to be one of the first ones to do this. And in the back of my mind, I already know that that end piece is in the back of my mind, and I'm like, I hope I don't screw this up. And guess what? I did. I totally screwed it up. Um, so I'm like, I just blew my chance at this show because the other group that I was with, or the other 3 that were in my group, they absolutely killed it. They did. Second group comes up, so 5 through 8. They get 3 measures into the song, and all of them completely freeze. The choreographer actually had to come up on stage to get them through the rest of the number. So all of a sudden, I'm thinking, maybe I've got a chance. Well, next thing was a singing audition. So you get this sheet of paper, at least for the show. I've been through other auditions that do things a little differently, but this show you've got some sheet music. I mean, obviously I know the songs in the show. And I've done karaoke a lot, and I've even done it. I did it at the Frankenmuth Beer Fest one year, and that was probably 1,000 people that actually saw me perform. Um, and I was not intimidated by that. But auditioning, when you're singing and you've got pianist in front of you, and you've got everybody that's also trying to audition watching you, along with the whole production team, that was scarier to me than the dance. And I'm usually comfortable with singing. So yeah, it was interesting. Scary. Scary. I forget how nerve wracking auditioning was. I just auditioned for something last week, and putting yourself out there is rough. Um, it's kind of like a job interview. You know, you're putting out what you can do and hoping that they notice what you can do and select you for it. I guess is the best way I can put it. So after the singing audition, which I thought I did pretty well at, even though I was nervous as heck, um, we did cold line readings from the show, and we did several scenes over and over where we would change characters. And I knew what they were looking for. They were looking for people that could, jump from one character to another, because basically that's what Monty Python does. If you've ever watched The Holy Grail, you know, actors are taking on several roles. So I get done, I go home, and they still have 2 more days of auditions. This was a Sunday night. They also had Tuesday, Wednesday, and they said we'll give you a call either way. So Wednesday night, and this is back when I was working at Sam's Club in audit, and I had to be in at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it got to be like 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, they're not gonna call tonight. I went to bed. An hour later, um, my wife comes in, wakes me up, and said they called. You got a part. Sorry. To this day, I still get chills about that moment. She said they wouldn't tell me what part, but they said you can call back tomorrow. I said, no, I'm calling them back right now. So I called, and they offered me the role of Not Dead Fred. That's the guy in the movie that says, I'm not dead. I think I'll go for a walk. I'm like, this is perfect. I'm on stage for 5, 6 minutes. I do a song, I do a dance, I do some lines, and I'm done. Perfect. I didn't know anything about community theater at the time. Yeah, I was on stage for 70% of that show. I ended up being the mayor of Finland, which opens the show. Um, I had a scene off, then I was Not Dead Fred. Then I had another scene off, and then I came back as one of the Knights of the Round Table, which I stayed until after we did the big song Camelot. And Lancelot, who's in the show, plays the French taunter. But our director wanted Lancelot to be in the French taunting scene. And since I was a similar body style to our Lancelot, and we had a second costume, because we rented them from a place down by Grand Rapids, he wanted Lancelot to be on stage. So I got to be Lancelot for the end of the second act, or first act. Then I went back to being Knight of the Round Table. Now, here is a funny story. Um, Robin has a song in there that is not very PC friendly. It's You Can't Succeed on Broadway, and I'm not going to finish that because I don't want to get edited by YouTube. Um, but one of the lines that he sings in the song is, "You can bring on a piano." So I got to actually build the piano. I also built a cart that was the dead body cart as well. So yeah, I did do some set design in the show as well. But basically, it was just a very skeletal wood frame with cardboard that we painted. We made it look like a piano, but you didn't see the actual keys on it because there were no keys. It was completely empty. It was a piece of wood, basically glue on that we put across that, you know, whoever played Robin, because we had two Robins actually because of a wedding that went on, could actually hit it like they were actually playing. Well, I played in the next scene, I played a character named Concord who gets an arrow stuck in his chest. And I had to get dressed for that and get ready for that scene. And I actually had a little plate that had a spring arrow on it. It looked amazing when it actually worked because I had a little piece of Velcro and I flipped it and it would shoot out. I'll talk about that in a second. Um, but so I was tasked to bring on the piano, for that number. One night, I forget who it was that said it, and I apologize for whoever it was that said it because it was brilliant. Said, "Why don't you climb inside of it and bring it out?" I thought that was brilliant. So I started doing that, and we kept it for the show. So basically, I played a piano on stage. Not physically played a piano, or well, not actually play a piano, but was the piano. That was fun. Trying to hit the spot marks on stage while you're crouched inside of a moving piece of furniture, basically. That was an experience. All right, so after I got done with that, then I was Concord. And one of the things with Concord, he gets shot with an arrow. He has that famous line in Spamalot called "Message for you, sir." Well, they gave me a backpack. So because, I don't want to give too many spoilers out about either Spamalot or Holy Grail if you haven't seen them. But one of the things is every knight had a squire that followed behind them and acted like a horse. Um, they were supposed to have horses in the movie, and something happened with the company that they contracted through at the last second, and they couldn't get them. So they had to come up with a solution, and that's what they came up with. Is they had guys behind them acting like they were horses. And one of my favorite parts of being in Spamalot is the guy Eric that I was with that was Lancelot because I was his squire for that scene. He and I, he was supposed to be the superb horseman that did all these tricks and such. So he and I would meet in the rehearsal room every night and come up with an improv thing for that night. And it got to the point by the end of the run that everybody was excited to see in the cast, not the audience, the cast of what we were going to come up with. And I miss that. That was fun. But anyway, back to the Concorde thing. So they gave me a backpack, so it looked like I was, squiring, and we had all our supplies on. It was basically nothing but couch cushions, wrapped in burlap. I After I got shot with the arrow, um, I did a lock-legged full back fall onto the stage. Now, mind you, we had rehearsals from early August until the week of show. I did not have this backpack. It wasn't until our first dress rehearsal night that I got the backpack, and I didn't get it until intermission. So I have very little time to set up my trust factor with this backpack. Nobody has seen me do the back fall before. I'd never done it. I was confident I could do it, but nobody had seen it. So um, I backstage at intermission, I finally got it. I sat down on the floor, fell back, went up a little higher, fell back, and then did a full fall. So the time comes up for me to do the scene, and our director's up in the director's booth, and I do the fall. First thing I hear from anybody, I mean, I heard gasps. Nobody had seen me do that. I heard gasps from the back wings, and from the director's booth, I hear, "Tim, are you all right?" And laying there flat on my back, I just go, and we went on. No, it was great. I got a good response from the audience every night from that, and I'm very proud of that. Then I also got to stay as Concord for a little bit longer. I got to carry Prince Herbert back on stage after he jumps out the window, or actually falls out the window. I forgot that the Swamp King actually cuts his rope. And then I get to help strip Lancelot down for his big number. But then I go back to being a Knight of the Round Table for the big finale, or for the rest of the show. We have a lot that still happens. There's several more songs. There's the big reveal of where the Grail is, um, which I got to be on stage for. Um, I actually got to use a bad word on stage, which was kind of fun. That was a first for me. And then we have the big finale. So, but no, that show was amazing. I there it was not there could never have been a better return to the stage than that show. The entire cast, the entire production team, we all got along. We all laughed a lot. There was never an argument. We joked around. I think we laughed more than the audience did. And for those that saw the show, everyone laughed a lot. Uh, but they, like I said, that was a perfect return to the stage for me. Um, and it sparked that interest again. And that's why I've done 11 shows now since then, and why I'm auditioning for more. My love of theater is back. Because of that, when I was in Annie, I arranged for my oldest to be allowed to sit in the pit for the show. And the grin on her face that night was like, I made a great choice. My son has done 5 shows. Um, he's done sound in several shows, and he's also written 3 skits that they did. They did 2 different shows where it was kind of like Saturday Night Live, where they do short skits. The first one he did blew me away. The techniques he used, the story itself. Um, there were stop motions in it. There were monologues. There were it, I can't say enough about it. To this day, I don't know how he came up with that. My greatest moment, well, I shouldn't say greatest moment, but one of my great moments as a dad is the day he told me he got into theater because he saw me on stage. I that speaks volumes to me. That speaks volumes. And now my youngest, she's she in elementary school. She was in a couple shows, and she had a pretty good monologue herself in one of the shows. But she's taking drama class right now as a junior, and she just directed her first show, and she just let me know she's directing her second now. So I mean, my kids are super talented, uh, both theatrically, musically. Um, I can't say enough about them. They are amazing. They are amazing, and yeah. But all right, so that was my first foray back into theater. I knew this one was going to be a little longer because I have a lot to say about that show. I still run into some of the cast members. Unfortunately, we have lost um, one of them, and he was an amazing man. Eric Stone, I hope you're resting well. I miss you. So, all right, tune in next time for more stories by Tim. What else can I call this? That's what it is. I just love talking and reliving parts of my life that I think I've forgotten about. So, thank you for tuning in.